As I said, my name is Alex Puttiffin, and I'm with Minister Rickford's office. So welcome, everybody. I'd like to welcome Minister Rickford, Mr. Fedeli, Minister Romano, MPP Miller, and Mr. Guerard of the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. And I'd like to kick things off by inviting Minister Rickford to deliver his remarks.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. It's a really exciting morning. I think I may have been the cause of this. I decided to stay at home another day fighting off a cold. I was COVID negative, but you know, you can't have a cough or a sneeze these days or it freaks everybody out. So working from home today like a lot of us, and speaking of work, a lot of great work has been done here today. And as I move into my prepared remarks, I first want to thank my extraordinary team, and in particular my caucus members. You see them here, Vic and Ross and Norm. We've put a tremendous amount of work into this. Many of you who are on the phone today have been part of our formal or informal consultations. We use the data that we were gathering during the heart of our COVID advisory councils and other independent engagements each of us have done. We took this back to the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund, had it stress tested twice. And then, of course, we took it to that mean old Treasury board that Vic sits on. And fortunately, we had a friend, and we were able to put together what we believe will chart a path for small businesses across Northern Ontario to move forward in the context that we find ourselves. Obviously, the heart and soul of COVID appeared to be passing, and it looks like we're on the precipice, if not already there, on a second wave. But we want to, regardless, since we don't have a playbook for this, we want to be able to put our small businesses across Northern Ontario in the best position possible for what may very well be a new look business for you folks, a new way of doing things, and that's not going to change anytime soon. And so what we believe what we've put together here has a value proposition that moves beyond COVID, I would say, hey, Vic, in the sense that the opportunity that we're about to announce here today is going to give you an opportunity to put enhancements to your business through this program that will outlive COVID for sure and put you hopefully in a much better position. So now more than ever, we've been committed to making targeted investments at NOHFC that support the hardworking businesses that you folks own across our vast and beautiful Northern Ontario. And that's why it's my pleasure today to announce our government's new Northern Ontario Recovery Program to support Northern businesses impacted by COVID-19. Now, folks, this is just small businesses across Northern Ontario, and we were able to do that by innovating with the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund to help you, but we're not aware of anybody else in Canada and in Ontario being able to get access to this extraordinary program. It will be administered to the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation, and John, our president and CEO, will walk you through a technical briefing shortly. But it's intended to provide targeted funding that will allow businesses to fund the necessary upgrades as we adapt to what everybody's calling a new normal or a new reality. Applications will begin next week from October 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. We will endeavor to turn those applications around very quickly for some segments of the small business owners that are on here today. You'll be headed into a season in the next couple of months where you make capital upgrades to your business assets, and for others, hopefully be in a position to do the same. Companies will be able to apply for assistance with projects such as, but not limited to, building renovations, new constructions, customer and employee safety installations, equipment purchases, including personal protective equipment, marketing for new business initiatives, thank you, Vic, and restructuring of business operations. There is no denying, colleagues, that COVID-19 has hit businesses in every region of Northern Ontario, and this has been a challenging season for many of us. As I said earlier, there's no playbook, but we've done our best, and in the spirit of true Northern resiliency, we hope that this program will help your businesses return to some kind of normal state under the circumstances. I want to thank the businesses across the North who've adapted and overcome the unprecedented challenges of the past 7 months, ranging from complete shutdowns to partial openings. And while we're here to discuss our support for Northern businesses, I also want to address the future of the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. Over the course of the fall, we'll have this extraordinary program. We have listened to the feedback from every region, and there'll be a new look Northern Ontario Heritage Fund announced in January. In collaboration with Northern partners and my fellow Northern colleagues, we are developing a streamlined NOHFC program that will make it easier for more people and businesses to apply and support more projects, especially in rural and northern communities. Target both existing and emerging market opportunities and provide more opportunities for Indigenous peoples and businesses, and to address the skilled labor shortage in the North and aid the continued recovery from COVID-19. To do this, on September 30th, we will wind down all NOHFC existing programs to focus exclusively on the Northern Ontario Economic Recovery Program that I and my colleagues are announcing and will give you more details on shortly. Our immediate attention will focus on addressing the immediate and urgent impacts of COVID-19 on your businesses. And I look forward to joining you all in the new year as we launch a new NOHFC program that we think will work much better for the people of Northern Ontario. Today is another example, friends, of our government's commitment to get our Northern economy back on track and deliver economic prosperity for hardworking Northerners. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I want to turn it over to my colleagues in their order for some more details on this exciting announcement, and then back to me. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Minister Rickford, and I'd now invite Minister Fedeli to speak to us about this exciting announcement.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. Thank you, John, for your work. To Minister Ross and to Norm, thanks for always supporting the North around the caucus table. And to Minister Rickford, congratulations. I think this is a super day for Northern Ontario. You've worked 2 years as this minister to get us to this point where we've now got a huge, successful future ahead of us, thanks to these kind of changes. NOHFC, they take the role. You've always taken your role seriously to promote economic development in the North. I think, you know, whether it's large or small, urban or rural, these projects that you will be assisting, they're going to stimulate the recovery, growth, job creation, add to our skilled workforce, everything that we need to make the North grow, Minister Rickford. So thank you for that. Back a little over 2 years ago, since that point, NOHFC has invested more than $193 million. It's 1,386 projects right across Northern Ontario. And that money that we have invested as the government has leveraged more than $748 million in investment by the private companies, creating or sustaining almost 4,000 jobs. So this new program, Minister Rickford, targeted funding by the Northern Ontario Recovery Program, is going to play a key role in our economic recovery across the North. So congratulations to the NOHFC. Thank you, Greg, for your unwavering work and support. And I'll turn it back to you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And now I'd invite Minister Romano to speak to us from Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Glad to be here, and I just want to echo those comments of Minister Fedeli, and thank you, Minister Rickford, for all the great work to you, your team, and your office, and all of those at the NOHFC for all the hard work in putting this together. This has obviously been such a challenging time for everyone across our entire province and beyond, but for those of us in the North, we recognize that we have often a different set of challenges, and our businesses, our small business sector, our industry is often the most impacted when situations of this nature arise. Not that there's a playbook for this by any means at all, or not that there's any precedent of this type of a situation. But when times are tough across the province, they are a lot more tough for businesses, small businesses in industry across Northern Ontario. So I'm really pleased at the work that's been done here, and I just really want to echo my thank yous for the efforts that have been made to really address the challenges and attempt to directly address those challenges that small businesses and industry across Northern Ontario, in particular those across the north, those hardest hit by COVID-19. So it's great to see something specific for our region to support our businesses. I think we always see in the north when, and I think the word that you used, Minister Rickford, just a moment ago was resiliency. And I think that characterizes Northern Ontario spirit better than anything else, quite frankly. I remember hearing some local business owners in my community talk about if you could survive through challenging times or not even challenging times in Northern Ontario running a business, imagine what you could do anywhere else. And the role of our Northern businesses really demonstrate that Northern Ontario spirit. We've been seeing it for the last 6+ months now, and the support that this is going to be providing to those local small businesses industry in the fight against COVID-19, coming up with innovative Northern solutions. Anything we can do to support, and this targeted funding will do a great deal to support those. So thank you for that, and just happy to support our local businesses. I know how much work you've put into this, Minister Rickford. I know how much it matters to all of us, but to you in particular, ensuring that we're making a difference to protect the public in the fight against COVID-19 and supporting our businesses to help in that endeavor. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to continuing to see great things come from our office at the NOHFC and the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines and our government. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Romano. I'm inviting now MPP Miller to come up and speak to us.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Minister Rickford, for this important announcement today. Certainly, this is a very challenging time for businesses around Northern Ontario through COVID, and many are struggling to survive. So this is a really important lifeline for those businesses at this time of COVID. I know I took part in the Finance and Economic Affairs Committee meetings mainly with tourism stakeholders throughout the summer, and including many from Northern Ontario, and I participated in many of the conference calls with Northern Ontario tourism operators, and they've been very, very hard hit by the pandemic, especially with the closure of the US border. So I'm pleased to see this change to focus on helping businesses adapt to COVID-19 restrictions and recover from the shutdown. This certainly will help to protect and retain jobs. And I certainly would encourage all Northern Ontario businesses that incurred expenses as a result of their closure during the pandemic, and in order to reopen under public health measures, to apply for this funding. So thank you for putting this program together. It's very much needed across Parry Sound District, but also across all of Northern Ontario, and look forward to it being implemented fully. Thanks.
Well, that's right, Norm. Clear through across to the Manitoba border. We've understood your challenges, friends, and we appreciate you being on here. I'm just making a few more comments to highlight some of the details, but then John, our president, who's done a great job on this as well. I know we had a conversation. We just felt good about this, and I want to just address a couple things, folks. The timing of this is critical. We believe, and we heard from you, that coming through the summer in uncharted waters, many of you would have a greater sense for what effective programming would look like. So what we did was, as I said to you earlier, we're pivoting in the new year to a new NOHFC program. There are still many elements of it that are the same, but some of it has been streamlined and built out in direct response to our hundreds of consultations with municipalities and businesses alike, stakeholders. But through the fall, what we've endeavored to do here, folks, is allocate $20 million. So just to be clear, $20 million from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund for a Northern Economic Recovery Program. Now, this is a significant allocation. from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund, and we appreciate the taxpayers of Ontario's generosity and the confidence that they have in my colleagues that have spoken here today to make good decisions, make good consultation and engagement with businesses of all sizes and stakeholders, chambers of commerce across the region to get this right. The feedback that we've had as we socialized elements, many of the elements of this has been very positive. What John will walk you through essentially is an opportunity for your business to apply for up to $25,000 in grants, so not a loan component to this, to help you run and make your better business as we face what is still, especially with the second wave, an uncertain future. So John, if you'll indulge me just for a couple more minutes, I put together a couple of examples for some of our folks here of what this program could target, and then I'd love it if you take us through a technical briefing. So capital constructions may include, but are not limited to, construction of new space for increased social distancing measures, new patio construction for outdoor services. If that's an opportunity for your business, this will qualify. We will be very generous in our efforts to make sure that we're supporting our businesses. Leasehold improvements may include, but not be limited to, redesigning current space to allow for increased social distancing and customer flows. This could be your dining room at a tourist camp, or a dock that you now have to have much bigger because of social distancing as parties stay separate. Installation of a new takeout window. The acquisition of new or used equipment may include, but is not limited to, a new point of sale systems incorporation of the TAP technology. It could include HVAC systems. Restructuring of business operations may include website or online platform development costs from a third party, incremental online platform subscription services. For those of you in retail, for those of you who take your customers primarily online, you're going to be able to make investments in technology that will support your business operating better. Marketing for new business initiatives, which may include purchase of ads that highlight new business initiatives, showcase the modifications you've made to make sure that people feel safe and comfortable coming into your business or your tourist operation, print collateral. Advertising should be specific to COVID-19 efforts and not standard advertising costs, but are certainly generously can showcase that you're a business that's ready to receive and welcome guests. Of course, personal protective equipment acquisition, plexiglass installation, alcohol hand rub stations, staff PPE, and wayfinding signage. Other costs, of course, must demonstrate an incremental need due to COVID-19, but those could include third-party security and, of course, additional insurance should you require that. I want to stop there on insurance because I don't want to get all riled up about how insurance and banks have made away quite well during this process. So these are the essential components. John, why don't you walk us through a technical briefing and share the exciting news?
Sure. Thank you, Minister, and good morning, ministers and everyone on the internet. My name is John Guerard, and I'm with the Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. So as the minister has just mentioned, the NOHFC will begin to accept applications on October 1st this week until December 31st, 2020. And this program is intended to support smaller and medium-sized businesses which have had to make a change as a result of the pandemic, of course. So more details will be posted on the NOHFC website today at excuse me, nohfc.ca. However, I'm going to provide a couple of details here in advance of that. So as the minister has mentioned, the NOHFC will be providing conditional contributions up to $25,000 per business. So these are grants with conditions. So in layman terms, it's not a loan. We've heard from many stakeholders that loans weren't meeting the needs of their businesses. So this will be a conditional contribution. The contribution is intended to cover 100% of the eligible costs. So those costs would be directly related to your business adapting your operations to meet local public health guidelines. So, and as NOHSC's regular processes, businesses will need to apply for funding. We will have our website open and running on October 1st. And if approved, we'll enter into a funding agreement with you. In addition, eligible expenditures will be reimbursed after they are incurred and paid for. So that's our normal process. The potential eligible expenditures, which you may have already actually incurred or plan to incur. So expenditures incurred and paid for after March 17th, 2020 are potential eligible. So if your business has already incurred costs to adapt to the new reality with the pandemic, those costs are potentially eligible. And so Ontario's Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation and the Ministry of Energy, Northern Development and Mines are here to support the economy of the Northern Ontario. And as such, the ministry's Regional Economic Development Branch has advisors located in 25 offices right across Northern Ontario. They're available to assist and guide you with developing your applications and submitting your applications. And contact details to connect with your local advisors are posted on both the ontario.ca website and the nohsc.ca websites. So we're here to help you throughout the whole process and look forward to supporting businesses adapt to new realities. So thank you, Minister.
Well, thank you for that, colleagues. So as you can see with the timing function of this, we very much wanted to commit, recognize, and honor that many of you had made fairly rapid adaptations to your businesses during the heart and soul of what we now know is the first wave of COVID. So those modifications may very well be eligible, and our team stands positioned to walk through with you those expenses incurred and cover them. I know just traveling across parts of the North, I've seen a lot of businesses make those adaptations, and we'll certainly be out there making sure that small businesses know that they have an opportunity to recuperate those costs. But we believe that this program in its entirety covers as many businesses as possible and reflects what might be a new reality. I know there's a number of municipal mayors and councillors, Reeves from townships on here. You know, you may be thinking that next summer, for example, you want to convert your downtown core into a walkway for shops to do more shopping outside, maybe block off. I'm thinking of Kenora or Keewatin. Got to get Keewatin in there. Where you may want to block off parts of the street. So businesses, if we do this quickly here in the early fall, and you signal that's going to be an option, businesses will have an opportunity perhaps to acquire patio installations and whatnot so that they can move out into your streets and make an offering if you're a coffee shop, a retail shop, or what have you. So we think we've covered as many bases as we possibly can. I'm sure in this business there's always a question or two that arises that we may not have thought of, but I'd be surprised if there was, because the consultations on this have been so thorough. And in fact, many of you were consulting on this without appreciating that we were going to put this into a recovery program. By about midsummer, me and my colleagues got together and said, this information is so rich, it provides an extraordinary opportunity to do this. Why don't we? And so that's why we're here today. So Alex, I don't know, in terms of the agenda, is there an opportunity for us to respond to some chat questions or comments? What do we do now?
Absolutely, Minister. So we're going to go to some questions sent to us by some of the people watching. I just want to highlight a comment from Chantal Charbonneau from Temiskaming, who says she's very excited about this announcement and is really grateful for this funding. And on that segue, another comment from Ron Malashewski, who said to us, the Northern Ontario Recovery Program is a welcome boost to the strong support already given to the small business in the North. So his question part of his comment could probably be answered by some of the panelists. He says, on a larger business recovery scale, there are several mineral exploration and development projects in the North, some of which are in advanced stages and can create many jobs. Many of these projects are trying to raise capital in a difficult economic environment. What plans does the province have for stimulating the development of larger industrial and resource-based industries and allowing them easier access to capital?
Well, thanks, Ron, for that question. I'll take that, boys, if you don't mind, because it's out in my backyard. Ron, you and I have met extensively on this, and I'd be happy to continue that important conversation. Today, we're focused on the Northern Ontario Recovery Program, squarely the kinds of businesses that it would cover, and certainly you still have some operations on the exploration side going there, and I can assure you that should you apply, because you need certain safety aspects in place as you take visitors out to the site, why this program would cover that as you build enthusiasm for this exciting project. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. So another question comes from Ashton Vlahovic. She says, as the previous NOHFC programming will be wound up as of September 30th with focus to be placed on the Economic Recovery Program, what happens to previously approved projects? Do they remain valid under an existing agreement, or do we require an amendment?
Great question. So what we will be doing this fall, the NOHFC board and my caucus colleagues, is obviously going over all of the rest of the applications that are in the hopper, so to speak. There's a lot of work to be done there. John, I'll get you to add a quick comment to this, but we intend to clear the decks on those. The Northern Ontario Recovery Program also has a good timing function for us as well. Gives us an opportunity to fairly wind down that project or that program as it was, and pivot to the new one in the new year. I'm really excited about this program, but we recognize and understand that a lot of people put good time and effort into the existing program. So we have a plan that respects that, and over the fall in 2 different stages, while we're hopefully announcing Northern Ontario Recovery Program, hint, hint, John, turn around in 14 days, we'll be able to be in a position to sign off on those projects and announce them. John, do you have any additional details?
Yes, thank you, Minister. Certainly, if we have existing legal agreements, funding legal agreements, we will be working with you throughout the whole process. We don't intend to cancel agreements, and those projects will continue, and we'll continue to fund them as they progress.
Thank you very much. And I think this will be our last question. Our last question comes from Cameron Grant at the Timmins Chamber. He says, excited and much welcome news. So what would be an expected turnaround time for businesses applying to the fund?
Well, I'll turn this over to John, but I think we have an expectation that they'll be turned around quickly, in particular for the projects that have already been performed. So many of you did some modifications to your business over the summer, and should they qualify, I can't see any reason why it's not done very quickly. I'll let John fill out very quickly, but some of you will come with ideas about the kind of opportunities that are available because of this program to start later this fall, particularly for camp operators who do their work in the late fall, early or through the winter. John, do you want to enlighten us on how quickly you hope to turn these projects around? What's the team's goal?
Well, the team's goal, we certainly do, as you had mentioned, Minister, this program we believe is going to be very welcome, and we're going to have a high volume of applications coming in as of October 1st, which is Wednesday this week. So our goal is to turn around these projects within a month. And if you've already incurred expenditures and have everything lined up and have your applications into us with all the information, we can certainly turn it around very quickly.
Well, thank you very much. And I think
Alex, the media is coming on shortly, so I just make a couple comments. If there's a few more questions or comments, as I like to say, the media can wait. But if you're excited about this program, colleagues, one of the ways that we can really raise the profile of this is for you to put pressure on your local media to make sure that they announce this, so that businesses know. We have tools at our disposal, and this will go out on all of our social media outlets. But certainly for some folks, they may not become aware of this. So I'll be pushing it on my media, but feel free to do yours. And Alex, just with a couple minutes left, I'd love to take another question or maybe a comment that you've had come in. And if any of my other colleagues have a closeout, why, that'd be great.
Sure, we can do another question. Another question comes from Marnie Lapierre. She says, how will the grading system of the applications for funding be done? Will there be a priority to the tourism industry?
Norm, do you want to take a stab at that? I'm happy to say that a lot of effort has been put into this with a focus on tourism, but this is open for all qualifying businesses, folks, as of that date. I'm not going to mince my words. We heard tourist camp operators and people in the tourist business particularly hard hit. We were encouraged as the summer, a beautiful summer across Northern Ontario, wore on, that business conditions improved. But certainly we will look at thresholds and how you were impacted. We know some camp operators didn't get started till much later in the seasons, and the uptake for bookings was, at least at first, very, very cautious with a smaller pool to draw from. So while we've tried to support those kinds of industries, this is for any and all businesses. And you know, I just got a comment here from Guy Labine, who operates Science North, a good friend of mine. Congratulations, this business. This will provide great opportunities for a lot of businesses across North, and he can think of many in Sudbury. So we've tried our best. Norm, you had a lot of input on the tourist side. Do you have a perspective on that?
Sure. Thanks, Minister. I noticed from the chat line a lot of people thinking they still have to spend additional money to be able to qualify. And I think it's really a really important point that if you spent the money in the spring doing the things you had to do, that you are very likely going to qualify. So you don't have to spend additional money to be able to qualify. I think that's the point I'd like to make. And I certainly know that having been in the tourism business in the past, that this is probably the most challenging business year in my lifetime, certainly. And I hope this helps businesses survive this COVID-19.
Well, that's great, MPP Miller. Thank you very much. I think we have time for one last question, which comes from Christopher Kornacki, who asks, are businesses who have more than one location in different cities in the North allowed to apply for more than one grant?
John?
So we are trying to make sure that we're equitable to all businesses in the North. And, you know, if businesses are separate in different locations, you know, in different cities, then we would, we would certainly entertain applications for those different locations.
We have a fairly generous allocation here, folks, of $20 million. It's extraordinary. I haven't seen anything like it. I wish the folks at FedNor would try to come up with something, then we could stack it and make this really effective. But they've been slow to the mark on wanting to do something. But with up to $25,000 in grants, we feel like we've reflected fairly, based on the feedback we got from businesses, what these projects would typically cover. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And one last comment from Don Duval, who says, "This is a great announcement. We'll do our part to ensure businesses are made aware of this program." Thanks, Don. So I'll pass it off to Minister Rickford to close us off as we finish this announcement.
Well, very exciting day for all of us. And again, I want to thank my Northern Ontario colleagues, the chambers across, the businesses, some of the tougher conversations I've had certainly over the course of my political career. And Normie, I know you've carried the weight of the tourism sector for a very, very long time, for all the highs and its lows. And certainly whatever we're in right now, it prompted a response from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. Our heritage is resiliency, but it's also help. And we hope that this will support your businesses, put them in an even better position, not just as we navigate COVID, but as we look forward to what business will look and feel like in the future without COVID. And that in actual fact, when this program is seen through to its completion, businesses will be in a better position, whether it's an enhanced technology platform, a safer work environment, for what looks like to be, at least in part, a different kind of physical layout for your businesses, new innovations that include things like patios or spilling out to the streets of your respective towns or cities should those conditions be at the right time, and or to enhance certain capital assets on your grounds to modify for COVID, but also to create more space for people to come and stay and come and visit your businesses. So thank you for that. And I'll give my thumbs up. I don't know if my colleagues have any closing remarks, but thank you for joining us all here today.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Minister Rickford, and all the ministers, and MPP Miller and Mr. Guerard as well.